pembahasan yang jadi bisa diulang lagi nanti rekamannya, baru kita bisa pindah fokus. Yang pertama tetap harus dibenerin dulu fluency,
Oh,
ya. Kata-katanya banyak yang sama, terus grammarnya masih ada yang keliru, itu nggak masalah. Fluency dulu yang penting. Yang penting kita bisa fluent dulu ngomongnya. Kalau fluency udah oke, udah lumayan, nah baru step in ke vocab sama grammar. Baru dibenerin vocabnya kalau memang ada yang sering berulang, gramatikalnya khususnya tenses, nah itu juga coba dibenerin lagi. Baru yang terakhir, idioms. Nah, coba masukin idioms yang memang familiar gitu. Kayak restoran misalnya tadi, itu bisa kita masukin mouth-watering dishes, makanan yang sangat menggugah selera. Nah, itu bisa. Atau misalnya ada pertanyaan terkait tadi tentang berapa sering ke PRJ. Nah, kita bisa bilang, well, I only come once in a blue moon. Ya, once in a blue moon berarti jarang banget, setahun sekali misalnya. Nah, itu bisa dipakai juga. Ya, jadi idioms yang bisa dimasukin nanti kalau memang fluency sama vocab dan grammar nggak ada masalah lagi. Baru coba masukin idioms. Oke?
oke Kak.
Yes. Kita coba move on ke listening. Sebelumnya udah pernah belajar listening, Kaldo, untuk IELTS?
Belum sama sekali Kak.
Belum sama sekali ya. Kita coba blind test dulu untuk listeningnya. Aku udah masukin ini di drive-nya. Mungkin boleh dibuka filenya. Atau ya lihat di sini juga boleh. Kalau misalnya mau lihat di screen-nya juga oke. Kalau emang jelas terlihat. Kalau misalnya mau dibuka mandiri juga oke. Kita coba mulai dengan blind test dulu ya supaya familiar dengan bentuk soal yang ada di listening IELTS. Kemudian nanti baru fokus kita bahas strateginya gimana untuk masing-masing tipe soal. Udah di-download ininya?
Udah dibuka Kak.
Udah dibuka ya? Oke. Kita coba dengarkan recordingnya ya. Kita bahas per section ya. Jadi diikuti dulu satu part, kemudian nanti kita discuss setelah satu part selesai ya. We're going to start with section 1.
Recording 63.
You will hear a telephone conversation between two friends called Julie and Nick about cheap accommodation in the city of Darwin, Australia. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6.
Halo Kak.
Ya, lagi jeda memang.
Oh,
Nah, untuk baca soal dikasih kesempatan untuk baca soal.
Hi, Nick, it's Julie. Have you managed to find any information about accommodation in Darwin?
Hi, I was just going to call you. I found some on the internet. There are quite a few hostels for backpackers there. The first possibility I found was a hostel called Top End Backpackers.
Okay.
It's pretty cheap. You can get a bed in a dormitory for $19 per person. Private rooms cost a bit more, but we'll be okay in dormitories, won't we?
Sure.
So, that hostel has parking, though that doesn't really matter to us, as we'll be using public transport.
Yeah. Are there any reviews on the website from people who have been there?
Well, yes. They aren't all that good, though. Some people said they didn't like the staff. They had an unfriendly attitude.
That's quite unusual in a hostel. Usually all the staff are really welcoming.
That's what I thought. People said they liked the pool and the fact that the rooms had air conditioning. But the problem with that was that it was very noisy, so they were kept awake. But it was too hot if they turned it off, so they had to put up with it.
Someone told me there's another hostel called Gumtree something.
Gumtree Lodge. It costs a bit more. $45 a person.
What?
Oh, no. That's for private rooms. It's $23.50 for the dorms.
That's more like it.
It looks to be in quite a good location. A bit out of town and quiet, but with good transport and quite near a beach.
Has it got a pool?
Yes, and its own gardens. The reviews for that one are mostly okay, except for one person who said they couldn't sleep because there were insects flying around in the dormitories.
Not for me then. And I'd rather be somewhere central, really.
Right. There's a place called Kangaroo Lodge. They've got dorms at $22, and it's downtown, near all the restaurants and clubs and everything. So that should suit you. And it doesn't close at night.
So there's always someone on reception? That sounds good.
The only criticism I saw was that the rooms were a bit messy and untidy, because people just left their clothes and stuff all over the beds and the floor.
Don't hostels usually have lockers in the bedrooms where you can leave your stuff?
Yeah, they do usually, but apparently they don't here. Still, hostels are never particularly tidy places, so that doesn't bother me. And the same person said that the standard of cleanliness was pretty good, and especially the bathrooms. They were excellent as far as that went.
Right. Yeah, I reckon Kangaroo Lodge sounds the best.
Me too. Quite a lot of people reviewing it said it was really fun there. Like every night everyone staying there got together and ended up having a party. So it sounds like it's got a really good atmosphere.
Okay, let's go for that one.
Oke, kita coba review dulu 1 sampai 6 sebelum dia lanjut. Ya, kalau misalnya dilihat tadi di awal ada jeda ya, jeda di awal. Nah, ini umum di listening test. Dia akan ada jeda di awal, di tengah, dan di akhir. Ya, tujuannya untuk kita supaya prepare untuk soalnya. Mau dibaca soalnya atau mau lakukan strategi lain, underlining, mungkin highlight, take notes, supaya lebih prepare untuk jawaban-jawabannya nanti. Oke, kemudian tipe soal yang kita lihat ini soal-soal isian. Kalau soal isian dia pasti akan ada instruction ya untuk batas limit jawabannya. Di sini no more than one word and or a number. Berarti bisa jawab dengan satu kata atau satu angka. Ya, satu angka di situ satu set angka maksudnya ya. Dan yang maksimal itu satu kata plus satu angka karena ada kata-kata n di situ. Oke, kalau dapat tadi nomor 1, dapat jawabannya apa? Halo?
Friendly, Pak.
Yes, unfriendly. Oke. Nomor 2,
Nomor 2, noisy.
noisy. Well done. Oke, nomor 3.
Dorms.
3.
Per,
Dollar.
person ya?
Heeh,
$3.
berapa dolar?
Kalau nggak
Miss?
salah,
Hmm,
$3.
Berapa?
For 43 aku nggak
45 itu
apa.
yang person, yang private room.
Oh,
Distractionnya yang diminta adalah dorm. Nah, dorm tadi dia nyebutin $23.50
oh.
ya. Nah, ini juga di listening itu akan ada distractors yang disebutkan. Jadi dia nggak cuma menyebutkan satu jawaban, ada beberapa pengecoh. Kayak misalnya yang air conditioning tadi, jawabannya noisy, tapi dia nyebutin juga hot kalau AC-nya dimatiin. Ya,
Oh.
jadi kita benar-benar harus fokus tuh di keterangan-keterangan yang dijadikan distractions-nya. Sama kayak gini. Ya, yang di 45 itu for private room. Dia mintanya untuk dormitory. Nah, dormitory-nya 2350 yang disebutkan kedua. Oke, jadi akan banyak pengecoh. Nomor 4
Ini aku nggak dapet, Kak.
nggak dapat. Insects jawabannya ya, serangga. Nomor 5
Bathroom.
bathrooms plural ya. Bathrooms.
Oke.
Karena di situ udah jelas ada R, berarti bathrooms pakai S. Nomor 6
Party.
party. Oke, well done. Kita coba lanjut untuk soal selanjutnya 7 sampai 10.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Did you get the address of Kangaroo Lodge?
Yes, it's on Shadforth Lane.
Can you spell that?
Shadforth. It's near the transit centre, where the intercity buses and the airport buses drop you off.
Cool. I'm really looking forward to this. I've never stayed in a hostel before. Do they provide bed linen, sheets and things?
Yeah. And you can usually either bring your own towel or hire one there, but they don't usually provide those for free.
Okay. And what happens about meals?
Well, you don't have to pay extra for breakfast. It varies a lot in different places, but generally it's okay. And there's usually a cafe where you can buy a snack or a hot meal for lunch. But actually, if you're really travelling on the cheap, usually for every 5 or 6 rooms, there's a kitchen where you can knock up a snack. And that saves a lot of money.
Great. Right. Well, shall I go ahead and book that?
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Oke, so confirm ada 2 jeda lagi ya, di tengah tadi ada jeda, terus di akhir ada jeda 30 detik ya untuk recheck the answer. Nah, kita coba lihat untuk jawabannya. Nomor 7, apa dapatnya? Halo, Kak Aldo?
Shadforth, Kak.
Shadforth, gimana tulisannya? Spellingnya?
Shadefooth.
F-O-A-T-H, Shadforth. It should be Shadforth.
Oh, Ford.
Shadforth. Shadforth. Ya, nah untuk soal-soal spelling kayak gini, ketika dia sebutkan katanya, kita coba guessing hurufnya gimana. Ya, misalnya tadi dia sebutin Shadforth, ya Shedforth, misalnya gitu. Nah, ketika dia spelling, baru kita confirm Shad, ternyata bukan I, tapi A. Forth. Ya, karena aksennya aksen Australia, huruf R-nya itu memang nggak kedengeran R kalau misalnya di Australia. Dia nyebutnya A.
Oh,
Forth. Nah, A itu R. Mirip-mirip dengan I kalau di UK. Ya, jadi ketika dia sebutkan katanya, kita guessing hurufnya dulu. Ketika dia spell, nah kita confirm. Nah, jadi nggak, kalau tadi kita udah nyebut Shadford, nggak mungkin ini R-nya berubah jadi I. Jadinya Shadfoid, bukan Ford. Ya, itu untuk spelling. Soal-soal spelling di listening akan keluar, walaupun cuma 1 soal, dia pasti akan keluar. Nomor
itu
8, apa? Gimana?
listeningnya 2 kali nggak sih, Kak? Enggak ya?
No, 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 sekali. Sekali jalan.
Aku sejujurnya nggak dapet sih. Can hire
Towel ini.
Oh, iya.
Ya,
Tadi aku,
you-
iya.
Hmm.
Tadi aku tulis towel, tapi can hire a towel. Aku nggak paham sih maksudnya apa can hire a towel tuh.
Hire di sini sama dengan rent.
Oh,
Meaningnya. Bisa nyewa.
iya, iya, iya.
Ya. Oke, 9.
Breakfast,
Breakfast, ya. 10.
snack, bukan ya?
No.
Snack.
Shared something. Apa yang biasa di share di accommodation?
Eh, sh-
Kitchen.
bed, kitchen. Oh,
Ya, dapur. Ya, for every 6 rooms, there's a kitchen. Jadi untuk setiap 6 kamar ada dapur yang bisa digunakan bersama-sama. Oke, towel tadi tapi dapat ya.
Dapat.
dapat ketika didengarkan ya. Mungkin karena vocabnya aja untuk hire itu mempekerjakan nggak mungkin kan hire a towel. Makanya mungkin dihapus. Hire di sini rent maksudnya.
Oke.
Oke. Jadi kalau misalnya kita lihat tadi part satu, ya ini defaultnya ya. Part satu itu defaultnya selalu conversation antara dua orang. Di sini yang kita akan mendengarkan banyak pilihan aksen, bukan hanya Australian dan British. Bisa jadi Indonesian, Chinese, Indian. Karena topiknya itu selalu berhubungan sama general interest. Booking something, going somewhere, purchasing something. Jadi kegiatan sehari-hari yang dilakukan. Nah, makanya aksennya pun akan sangat beragam di part satu ini. Dan soalnya completion, soal-soal isian di part satu. Nah, kalau kita ngincar nilai misalnya 6 7 part satu itu usahakan bisa maksimal. Ya, karena yang pertama pace-nya masih cenderung lambat. Jadi kita masih bisa ngikutin apa yang dibicarakan oleh examinernya, oleh si speakernya. Makin ke belakang, makin cepat nanti. Ya, jadi usahakan part satu part 2, nah itu bisa didapatkan dengan maksimal. Karena part satu part 2 ini topik yang dibicarakan tuh masih sekitar general interest. Jadi harusnya bisa dengan mudah untuk didapatkan jawabannya. Oke, ada yang mau ditanyakan untuk part 1?
Belum ada, Kak.
Belum ada ya. Oke, kita coba lihat part 2. Part 2 tipe soalnya multiple choices. Kemudian second partnya nanti bentuknya maps. Ya, kita coba lihat yang multiple choice dulu. 11 sampai 16.
Recording 64.
You will hear a guide at an outdoor sculpture park talking to a group of visitors. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Anglia Sculpture Park. Right, well the idea behind the sculpture park is that it's a place where works of art such as large sculptures and carvings can be displayed out of doors in a natural setting. As you'll have noticed when you drove here, most of the land around the park is farmland. The park itself belonged to a family called the De Quinces, who had made a lot of money from manufacturing farm machinery and who also owned substantial stretches of forest land to the north of the park. They built a house in the centre of the park, not far from where we're standing now, but this burnt down in 1980 and the De Quinces then sold the land. The Anglia Sculpture Park isn't the only one in the country. Several of the London parks sometimes display contemporary sculptures, and there are a couple of other permanent sculpture parks in England. But we're unique in that some of our sculptures were actually created for the sites they occupy here, and we also show sculptures by a wider range of artists than anywhere else in the country. For example, at present we have an exhibition by Joe Tremaine of what he calls burnt sculptures. These are wood and stone sculptures that he's carved and marked with fire to illustrate the ferocity and intensity of the forces that have shaped our planet over millions of years. They look really dramatic in this rural setting. To see some of the sculptures, you'll need to follow the path alongside the lower lake. We had to renovate this after the lake overflowed its banks a couple of months ago and flooded the area. The water level's back to normal now, and you shouldn't have any trouble. The path's very level underfoot. You should be back at the visitor centre at about 4 o'clock. If you have time, it's worth taking a look at the centre itself. It's not possible to go upstairs at present, as builders are working there adding another floor. But the rest's well worth seeing. The architect was Guy King. He was actually born in this part of England, but he recently designed a museum in Canada that won a prize for innovation in public buildings. If you want to get something to eat when you get back, like a snack or a sandwich, the terrace room is currently closed. But you can go to the kiosk and buy something, then sit on one of the chairs overlooking the lower lake and enjoy the view as you're eating.
Oke, kita coba lihat untuk nature-nya ya, untuk part 2. Yang pertama, first half-nya kita dapat multiple choices. Nah, kalau dilihat tadi untuk multiple choices, yang pasti disadari tidak cuma satu pilihan jawaban yang disebutkan. Ya, ada 2 bahkan 3-tiganya disebutkan di recording, tapi 2-nya hanya sebagai distractions. Ya, jadi ada denial words yang diucapkan oleh si speakernya. Ya, contoh mungkin yang paling terakhir tadi nomor 16, the terrace room is currently closed. Dia ngomong terrace room tapi close. Ya, but you can buy something at the kiosk and could choose one of the chair overlooking the lower lake. Nah, berarti kita belinya di kios tapi bisa duduk menghadap ke lower lake. Gitu. Jadi tiga-tiganya disebutkan, 2 distraction, 1 pilihan jawaban yang benar. Nah, kemudian pilihan jawabannya, kalau tadi kan dia memang nama ya, nggak mungkin diubah. Tapi yang lain itu di rephrase, di recording. Jadi nggak akan sama persis dengan apa yang dituliskan di question bookletnya. Misalnya kayak occupied by a factory. Nah, itu tadi land, a sell to one of the factory. The site of a private house belong to the family, the Quincy family. Nah, jadi dia nggak benar-benar nyebut sama persis dengan apa yang di question booklet. Oke, itu nature-nya untuk soal-soal di listening IELTS. Kemudian part 2 ini default-nya adalah monolog. Ya, kalau part 1 tadi conversation, nah part 2 monolog. Cuma satu orang aja yang ngomong, jadi harusnya kita bisa lebih mudah untuk fokus. Oke, kita coba lihat untuk jawabannya. Nomor 11 dapat? Apa jawabannya? Nomor 11? Gimana, Kaldo?
Aduh, sorry Kak, tadi aku ngomong masih ke-mute. Yang
Oke.
C bukan ya Kak?
B, nomor
Iya.
11. Ya, karena kata-kata previously. Jadi sebelum dijual ke factory, itu punya sebuah keluarga, Quincy family. Oke, 12.
Yang B bukan.
12A. Artists have made sculptures especially for it. Ya, dari kata-kata tadi, we have sculptures from a wider range of artists. Jadi lebih banyak lagi artis yang bikin sculptures untuk Anglia Sculpture Park ini. 13.
13 tadi yang A bukan ya Kak?
No, it's C. Violence of nature. Ya, dia ganti kata-katanya dengan the ferocity of our planet. Ya, ferocity and intensity that shape our planet. Nah, itu menggantikan violence. 14, 14.
Hmm, yang A kayaknya.
Awalnya yes, tapi sekarang sudah diperbaiki. Ya, recently been repaired, so you have no problems under the foot. Nah, jadi nggak ada masalah lagi sekarang.
Oh,
15.
eh A.
Yes, it is being enlarged. The builders building another floor. Ya, lagi bangun lantai 2, jadi lagi diperbesar. Oke. 16,
Yang A.
yang E ya, at the kiosk. Oke. Nah, ini eh, di awal kita bisa lihat permasalahan ada di multiple choices ya, karena mungkin ini pertama sekali. Kemudian juga banyak yang harus difokuskan memang di multiple choices ini, dan mostly memang orang banyak ngeluh di multiple choice untuk listening. Ya, karena memang kita bukan hanya satu hal yang harus kita fokus, tapi banyak hal yang harus kita fokuskan. Questions dulu ada di situ?
Tadi yang nomor 13 sih Kak, itu
Hmm.
aku aware dia ngomong tentang eh, planet, tapi aku nggak pas aku ngelihat pilihannya tuh kayak mana ya gitu.
Iya. Untuk multiple choice kita perlu nyatat, perlu take notes. Ya, karena memang harus dibantu. Kalau enggak, banyak yang akan miss nanti. Nah, kalau nanti ngambilnya computer base, berarti kita perlu take notes juga on screen bisa, atau invigilator biasa juga akan ngasih satu lembar kosong kalau kita nggak terbiasa annotation on screen. Ya, jadi kalau pilihan-pilihan soal-soal dengan pilihan jawaban untuk ngebantu kita decide yang mana jawaban yang benar, itu kita perlu take notes ketika recordingnya jalan. Ya, misalnya kayak tadi tuh, yang nomor 16. Jadi perlu dicatat. Terrace room, kita kasih keterangan di sini close. At the kiosk, buy something. At the lower lake cafe, sit, enjoy the view. Nah, jadi kita catat memang yang dibilang oleh speakernya apa, sehingga kita bisa nentuin jawabannya yang mana. Close bukan, sit, enjoy the view bukan, karena dia yang ditanyain can buy snacks and sandwiches, berarti di A, at the kiosk. Nah, itu untuk bisa lebih memaksimalkan jawabannya nanti. Oke, ada lagi pertanyaan?
Udah Kak.
Oke, kita coba lihat second half-nya, soal maps.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Now, let me just tell you a bit about what you can see in the sculpture park. If you look at your map, you'll see the visitor centre, where we are now, at the bottom, just by the entrance. Since we only have an hour, you might not be able to get right around the park, but you can choose to visit some of the highlights. You might like to take a look at the Joe Tremaine sculptures, which are displayed on this side of the upper lake, just behind the education centre and near the bridge. They're really impressive, but please remember not to let your children climb on them. One of our most popular exhibitions is the Giorgio Catalucci bird sculptures. They're just across the bridge on the north side of the lower lake. I love the way they're scattered around in the long grass beside the lake, looking as if they're just about to take to their wings. You could also go to the garden gallery. It's on this side of the upper lake. From the visitor centre, you go to the education centre, then keep on along the path and you'll see it on your right. There's an exhibition of animal carvings there which is well worth a look. We also have the Longhouse. That's quite a walk. From here, you go to the bridge and then turn left on the other side. Soon you'll see a winding pathway going up towards the northern boundary of the park. Go up there and you'll find it at the top. They have some abstract metal sculptures that are well worth seeing if you have time. OK, well, now, if you...
That is the end of section 2.
Oke, kita coba cek jawabannya. 17, jawabannya apa?
Iya Kak.
I, oke. 18,
B.
should be C.
Oh sih.
Ya. Dia nyebutin lower lake tadi, bukan upper lake.
Oh.
Ya, on the northern side of the lower lake. Sisi utara lower lake, berarti C. 19,
F.
F, yes. 20,
A.
A, oke. Jadi satu keliru, mungkin tadi nggak terlalu ngeh ketika dia nyebutin lower lake. Ya, karena emang ketukar tuh antara upper lake sama lower lake. Kayaknya nggak sulit ya untuk soal maps ya.
Iya Kak.
Oke, sejauh kita bisa fokus, ikutin directions-nya, harusnya aman. Apalagi kalau misalnya ada keterangan you are here. Jadi semua akan mulai dari sini berarti. Oke, questions ada untuk part 2?
Nggak ada sih Kak.
Ada. Kita coba lanjut ke part 3. Nah, part 3, part 4 ini defaultnya udah mulai ngomongin hal yang sifatnya akademik. Ya, jadi kita coba dengarkan lebih fokus lagi. Pace-nya juga lebih cepat biasanya. Untuk first half-nya multiple choices, second half-nya notes completion. Kita coba dengarkan yang first half dulu, 21 sampai 26.
Kak, sebentar Kak, aku
Ya,
mau colok baterai bentar.
oke.
Oke Kak.
Oke, kita coba dengarkan recordingnya untuk part 3.
Recording 65.
You will hear a first-year marketing student called Leo talking to a second-year student called Anna about his marketing report. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26.
Anna, I wanted to ask you about my marketing report. I'm not sure about it.
That's okay, Leo. So what do you have to do?
Choose a product or service, then compare two organisations that produce it. I'm doing instant coffee.
But haven't you got a weekend job in a clothing store? Why didn't you choose clothing?
That was my first thought, because I thought it'd give me some practical examples. But when I searched for men's clothing on the internet, there were hardly any articles. So then I looked for coffee, and I found there were tons.
Yeah, there are so many brands on the market now. OK, so how much have you actually written?
I've done part 1 on economic and technological factors. I found some good data on technological changes, how in Australia fewer people are buying instant coffee because of cheap coffee percolators that they can use to make real coffee at home.
But there's also a movement away from drinking coffee.
Switching to things like herbal teas instead because they think it's healthier. But that's not really to do with technology. It's more cultural. Anyway, for part 2, I'm comparing two instant coffee companies, Coffee Now and Schaffers, and I've made this table of products.
Right. Let's see. So you've got the brand names and prices and selling size and descriptions. OK, the table looks good. You'll get marks for research there. Where will it go?
In the section on the marketing mix, under product.
Not in the appendix?
No.
OK, but it's too factual on its own. You need to add some comment in that section about the implications of the figures.
Right. I'll do that. Now, I want to say that I think that Schaffers is more of a follower than a leader in the coffee industry. Now, I'm putting that in the section on market share. Does that seem okay?
Let's see. So, you've begun by explaining what market share is, that's important. But you've got to be careful how you give that opinion.
Do you think it should go in another section?
Well, it's fine where it is, but you've got to back it up with some data, or they'll say your report lacks weight.
Okay. One thing I'm worried about is finding anything original to say.
Well, Since this is your first marketing report, you're not expected to go out and do interviews and things to collect your own data. You're just using published data. So the analysis you do might not throw up anything that people didn't know before. But the focus is more on how you handle the data. I mean, you might take something like a graph of sales directly from a website, but what makes your work original is the perspective you provide by your interpretation of it.
Oh. You know, it's all so different from business studies assignments at school. It's really surprised me.
What? How much research you have to do?
I expected that. It's more, I knew exactly what I had to do to get a good grade at school. And I knew I'd be expected to go more deeply into things here. But I haven't got information on how the lecturer is going to grade my work, what he's looking for.
Oke. Bentuknya sama kayak di part 2, multiple choices, cuma backgroundnya aja beda. Kalau di part 2, monolog, satu orang yang ngomong, dan backgroundnya general interest. Nah, kalau di part 3 ini, 2 orang sampai 3 orang yang berbicara, backgroundnya akademik. Oke, kita coba cek. 21, jawabannya apa?
A, Kak.
Yes, he found plenty. I found tons, tadi diganti ya. Oke, 22,
C.
C, it should be B.
Oh.
Reducing the demand for instant coffee. 23,
A.
23A, yes, needs more explanation. 24,
B.
B, yep, well done. 25,
C.
First marketing report, analisis data aja. Jadi A jawabannya. Oke, 26,
A.
26A ya, not knowing the criteria for getting a good mark. Oke, ini udah lebih oke. Karena mungkin udah second attempt ya. Tadi karena memang baru dapat, mungkin agak bingung eksekusinya gimana. Oke, kita coba lanjut. Ada pertanyaan mungkin untuk ini?
Belum ada sih, Kak.
Belum ada. Oke, kita coba lanjut ke second half-nya. 27 sampai 30, notes completion.
Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Well, one thing you have to remember is that in a marketing report, you've got to have what they call an executive summary at the beginning. I forgot that and I got marked down.
Yeah, I've drafted it. I've got an overview.
Have you got something about the background there?
Yeah.
Good.
So, I've just made a summary of the main points. I wasn't sure whether or not I should have my aims there.
No, that's too personal. The executive summary is just like what a manager would read to get a general idea of your report if he was in a hurry.
Right. Then I'm okay for the first main part, all of the macro environment stuff. But it's when I get onto the problem section, I've listed all the problems that Coffee Now and Shaffers are facing. But then what?
Well, you have to prioritise. So indicate the main problems, and then you analyse each one by connecting it with a theory. That's where your reading comes in.
Okay.
Have you done your implementation section yet?
I've thought about it. So that's where I write about what could be done about the problems.
Yes. And it's got to be practical, so don't forget to specify things like who would be involved, and the cost, and the order that things would be done in.
Right. Well, that shouldn't take long.
You'd be surprised. Actually, that's the bit that tends to get badly done because people run out of time. That and the conclusion.
Oh, any hints for that?
Well, it's got to draw out the main points from your report. So it's got to be quite general. You need to avoid introducing new stuff here. It's got to sum up what you've said earlier.
OK. Thanks, Anna. That's been a big help.
That is the end of section 3.
Oke, itu akhir dari recordingnya. Let's check the answer. 27, jawabannya apa?
Background bukan?
Background, well done. Oke. 28,
Theory.
theory, yes. 29,
Host.
host, yep. 30,
Ini aku nggak ini sih, cuman can is open to lead dan because of time.
yes. Run out of time ya, time jawabannya.
Iya, run of time.
Dapat semua ya, one word only. Nggak kesulitan di sini. Any questions for this one?
Udah mulai ini sih Kak, kayak nyadar gitu loh kok. Oh, dia nggak ganti-ganti kayak tadi dibilang run of time terus jadi sini because of lack of time gitu.
Yes. Jadi memang jangan expect dia akan menyebutkan sama persis dengan apa yang ditulis di question booklet. Memang kita perlu tahu kapan dia rephrase kata-katanya. Ya diganti dengan apa kata-katanya di recording. Oke, kita lanjut. Section terakhir, section 4. Ini yang pace-nya paling cepat. Kemudian skripnya juga paling panjang. Ya, jadi benar-benar harus dilihat tracking recordingnya. Dia udah bahas yang mana. Jangan sampai hilang fokus. Hilang fokus, selesai. Ya, nggak bisa kita jawab untuk lanjutannya. Yang harus diperhatikan juga kata-kata yang dicetak tebal. 13, 16 century, 17 century, London, Saint Petersburg. Karena itu nggak diganti di recording. Ya, itu jadi patokan dia udah pindah ke section yang mana. Nah, jadi patokannya kata-kata yang dicetak tebal. Oke, kita coba dengarkan recordingnya. Recording terakhir, section 4. Monolog, 10 soal langsung.
Recording 66.
You will hear part of a lecture about the history of fireworks in Europe. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
An interesting aspect of fireworks is that their history tells us a lot about the changing roles of scientists and technicians in Europe. Fireworks were introduced from China in the 13th century. Up to the 16th century, they were generally used for military purposes, with rockets and fire tubes being thrown at the enemy. But they were also sometimes a feature of plays and festivals, where their chief purpose was related to religion. By the 17th century, the rulers of Europe had started using fireworks as a way of marking royal occasions. Technicians were employed to stage spectacular shows which displayed aspects of nature, with representations of the sun, snow and rain. These shows were designed for the enjoyment of the nobility and to impress ordinary people. But fireworks also aroused the interest of scientists, who started to think of new uses for them. After seeing one firework display where a model of a dragon was propelled along a rope by rockets, scientists thought that in a similar way humans might be able to achieve flight, a dream of many scientists at the time. Other scientists, such as the chemist Robert Boyle, noticed how in displays one firework might actually light another, and it occurred to him that fireworks might provide an effective way of demonstrating how stars were formed. Scientists at the time often depended on the royal courts for patronage. But there was considerable variation in the relationships between the courts and scientists in different countries. This was reflected in attitudes towards fireworks and the purposes for which they were used. In London, in the middle of the 17th century, there was general distrust of fireworks among scientists. However, later in the century, scientists and technicians started to look at the practical purposes for which fireworks might be employed, such as using rockets to help sailors establish their position at sea. It was a different story in Russia, where the St. Petersburg Academy of Science played a key role in creating fireworks displays for the court. Here, those in power regarded fireworks as being an important element in the education of the masses, and the displays often included a scientific message. Members of the Academy hoped that this might encourage the royal family to keep the Academy open, at a time when many in the government were considering closing it. In Paris, the situation was different again. The Paris Academy of Sciences played no role in staging fireworks displays. Instead, the task fell to members of the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture. As in Russia, the work of the technicians who created the fireworks was given little attention. Instead, the fireworks and the spectacle they created were all designed to encourage the public to believe in the supreme authority of the king. However, science was also enormously popular among the French nobility, and fashionable society flocked to demonstrations such as Nicolas Lemery's display representing an erupting volcano. The purpose of scientists was basically to offer entertainment to fashionable society, and academicians delighted in amazing audiences with demonstrations of the universal laws of nature. In the course of the 18th century, the circulation of skills and technical exchange led to further developments. Fireworks specialists from Italy began to travel around Europe, staging displays for many of the European courts. The architect and stage designer Giovanni Servandoni composed grand displays in Paris, featuring colourfully painted temples and triumphal arches. A fireworks display staged by Servandoni would be structured in the same way as an opera, and was even divided into separate acts. Italian fireworks specialists were also invited to perform in London, St. Petersburg, and Moscow. As these specialists circulated around Europe, they sought to exploit the appeal of fireworks for a wider audience, including the growing middle classes. As in the previous century, fireworks provided resources for demonstrating scientific laws and theories, as well as new discoveries. And displays now showed a fascinated public the curious phenomenon of electricity. By the mid-18th century, fireworks were being sold for private consumption. So the history of fireworks shows us the diverse relationships which existed between scientists, technicians, and the rest of society.
Okay, that's the end of the recording. Kalau dilihat pace-nya paling cepat ya di antara yang lain. Kita coba cek jawabannya. 31, apa dapatnya?
Religion nggak sih?
Religion, yes. 32.
Eh, oh, ordinary.
Apa?
Dari feature apa? Ordinary bukan ya? Bukan ya?
No, nature jawabannya. Ya, nature. Various features of nature were shown in firework display. 3-3?
Aku nggak dapet Kak.
Nggak dapat. Oke, 3-3 flight. Ya,
Oh,
penerbangan. Flight. 3-4.
nggak dapet juga.
Nggak dapat juga. 3-4 stars. How stars are formed. Ya, 3-5
Eh, Practical,
practical. Ya. Oke, 3-6
academic,
hmm, education.
education,
Yes, education for people. 3-7
di art, eh, eh,
king.
hmm,
Ya, power of the king. 3-8
hmm, nggak dapet Kak.
nggak dapat entertainment. Ya, 3-9
S, eh, nggak dapet juga Kak.
nggak dapat juga. Opera jawabannya. Ya, same pattern as an opera. 40 terakhir.
Electricity bukan ya?
Yes, electricity. Oke. 3 dapatnya ya.
Iya.
Oke, no worries. Karena memang baru pertama dan ini memang yang pace-nya paling cepat, skripnya paling panjang. Ya, jadi wajar kalau misalnya banyak yang miss ya untuk apa namanya? Untuk sesinya. Nanti kita coba lihat strateginya gimana untuk tiap-tiap tipe soal. Kemudian kalau di sini berarti yang sekarang paling banyak kelewat jawabannya di section terakhir. Nah, kita juga coba lihat nanti untuk tipe soal notes completion kayak gini apa yang bisa dilakukan supaya bisa maksimal.
Oke, Kak.
Oke. Besok gimana? Besok jadi ganti?
Boleh Kak?
Boleh ya, jam 6 berarti ya. Oke. So, I'll see you tomorrow dan besok kita selesaikan untuk listening.
Iya Kak.
Thank you, Kak Aldo. I'll see you tomorrow.
Mari saya kasih tomorrow.
Ya, bye-bye.
Bye.